What's up, Master Duel fans? James Polk here. 22,000 points in this X0 festival event. So in honor of this difficulty process of reaching 22k points with multiple decks, I'm going to showcase you guys not one, but two different decks I took to for this event. So the matchups that isn't loner decks faced off against plenty Eldritches, Sacred Beasts, and I believe it was pretty much the most representation based on my matches and experience for that matter. But aside the fact that if you guys saw the last replay clips, comment below about which other matchups that I left out with. So, nonetheless, let's get into this deck profile option A for the weather. So, 3 snow, 2 rain, 1 aurora, 3 thunder, 1 sun, 2 cloud. For the hand traps, 1 bell, 1 DD crow. I felt like between the crow and a bell is pretty much out of the format for the X0, but at the same time, most decks that doesn't have the recursion, Bell wasn't able to do this much of her own. So to cut off the 1 Bell, I added in the main deck spice of DD Crow because Eldritch is still a thing. Then double Droll, double Ogre. These hand traps overperformed way too well versus the Adventure and Fluwanderies at the very most. And then you still had the Pankratops, of course. For the spell lineup, Raigeki, Harpy's Feather Duster, Monster Reborn, Foolish Burial, as always, to toss out Sun. Double copies of Triple Tactics talent. The only time Tactics ever came up is the draw 2. Nothing else mattered throughout the whole grind game state. And then you have the canvases of 3 snow, 2 rain, and 1 cloud. For the trap lineup, 2 judgments, red reboot, 2 anti-spell fragrance, 1 skill drain, just because the card is limited in the X0 format. This came up a lot more than skill drain because my opponents tend to rely on skill drain when skill drain literally does nothing against me, just so that I'm able to take advantage of it still. 2 thunder canvas and then 2 rainbow canvas. Any changes to make? I'm most likely to cut off one of the 2 judgments just to make it a 40 even. And then option B, gotta put in my favorite charmer on screen. Now, deck option B is that, of course, taking out some of the hand trap lineups, I decided to switch around with the hand traps in terms of the second half of the X0 event, because the second half representation is literally Adventures and Machinas. Those 2 loner decks. Fluwanderies in the second half, it was never saw. So, the hand trap ratios that I pretty much took out the Crow to fit in the second Bell. And this card actually came up as a monster because a spellcaster and an Earth is needed to turn Bell and a spellcaster into Awakening Reaper, and it's pretty much good to go from there on out. And then the one Ash added this time cut off the ogres because Fluwanderies was never saw. And then Alsa, Area, Hita, Wind, Dark, and Lina, your 6 spellcasters. Inari Fire, Nefarious Archfiend, Gigabyte, 3 Renryus, and Awakening Reaper, your animal ratios. 2 Incredible Ecclesia. This card is actually extremely relevant because if you never saw Iris throughout the whole entire game, when it comes to Incredible Ecclesia, your possessed traps can help you fetch out the Ecclesia just so that as the main phase quick effect, you can fetch out the Iris from hand or deck just so you're able to control the board with the Iris. And then the Pankratops stayed there, of course. And then the staple changes for the spell trap lineup that isn't the archetypes or some of the additions. It was Mind Control, double Dark Ruler instead of Tactics, 1 Lightning Storm, Field Spell, Awakening Spell. Fairy Tale Tales is added back this time in the Charmer build because in some games where if I'm in a awful position where bigger monsters tend to have heavy attack in terms of Machina matchups, Fairy Tale Tales can actually save me from taking too much damage as long as I control one of the 6 spellcasters. And then Spirit Charmers, it's pretty much game if you ever resolve the card once or twice, most likely once. And then your trap lineup, Breakthrough Skill, double Evenly Match, and then your 3 partnerships with the 1 unpossessed. So guys, that's gonna do it for both deck profiles. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and share. Hit that notification bell to keep yourself constantly updated, and I'll catch you guys at the next event.